guys, welcome back to Brickland City. Make sure to like and subscribe. Today, we are building the up house.
Well, technically speaking, we've already built the up house, as you're going to see here, or at least we built the up house as per the instructions that come in the Lego box. But today we're going to do a little bit different. This is just the Lego set as it comes, open back. And I'm just trying to test out to see what it might look like to have it kind of floating above the city rather than as a house or a building in the city. I thought it might be cool to kind of lean into the balloon aspect, though. Probably worth asking the question, right? Is that enough balloons to raise this house? Probably not, but I can see why Lego had to make the decisions that they had to make there. But yeah, as we step back, you can see this is kind of the idea that I'm trying to lean on. Problem is being open backed, not from this angle, but if you stand the other side, you can actually see that it's open back and it's not a full building and it doesn't quite look how I want it to look. So this is where Rebrickable is going to come into us for us. So if you're not familiar with the website, Rebrickable is a website where I guess creators can upload instructions for mocks or for mods or for alternate builds and a heap of really cool stuff that's worth looking at. And this is where we're going today to get a back to our outhouse. There's a few different options on Rebrickable as to how you can build this out. You can build it out with 2 sets. And I did buy 2 sets to do that, but didn't really like the look of it in the end, so decided instead to go with this one here, which is actually just building a back to the building to attach. And it just clips together, and I thought that was really cool because I didn't have to disassemble anything. I just had to build something new. Because off the back of the last one where I had to pull Sesame Street apart to build the one, which admittedly, like the effort pays off in the end result, but it is a lot of work to pull things apart to rebuild it. So that's why this one particularly by Rockfield really interests me in building that one. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pulling the parts list across into my Bricklack account so that I can start to order those parts. Your stores and things are going to look different depending on where you're located, but this is a really easy process just to drag them across. And there's a couple ways you can do it, but this is just how I do it and put it into Bricklink and buy it the way that I buy it. And I'm not going to go into huge detail about the process, but you can kind of see what I'm going from the screen there. But if you're not familiar with Bricklink, there is a heap of videos on YouTube tutorials that talk you through it. I don't think I need to be another one of those, but if you do want that, let us know in the comments below. But you can see what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to buy it from the least amount of sellers as possible. Ideally all from within Australia, hopefully local cheap postage and all that kind of stuff, because the biggest thing I find with Bricklink is that the bricks themselves are not where the expense comes. The expense comes when you've got to buy it from 3, 4, 5 different sellers, and you end up paying $10 to $15 postage on 3, 4, 5 different sellers, and that adds up super quick. Not all, sorry, I should say not all of them are $10 to $15, but when you get to a reasonable size order of bricks, that's kind of the ballpark of what you're looking at from a postage wise, because that's when you start to get, for those in Australia, that's when you get the fixed price shipping and things like that as well. So that's pretty standard. So yeah, if you need to go to a few, you're adding it up pretty quickly. And then we go back to Rebrickable now that we've ordered our bricks and we buy our instructions. Again, these instructions are typically really cheap for what they are. And then you can download all the files, and depending who makes it, depends on what those files look like and that kind of thing. So make sure you have a look at that before you purchase it. But the perk of this one is they're just PDF downloads, which is awesome. So that all downloads to my computer now. And if we fast forward through the power of editing, surprise, all my bricks have arrived. And you can see here, like I have 3 different sellers produce my bricks. Some of them click them together, some of them just throw them in bags. It all depends on who you buy them from, and it's really not a big deal how they choose to do it. Because at the end of the day, I still have to sort them into something that makes reasonable sense to me as I build. This one's not a huge build, so I've just got my little Tupperware spinner, and I'll just try and break it down into things like bricks. Thankfully, a lot of them are already clipped together, so I'll kind of clip a bit more to keep all them together. Bricks, 1x plates, 2x plates, random small things, tiles and another, just whatever kind of makes sense depending on what I'm building. It doesn't take me too long to kind of get that all sorted out, and you'll see very shortly that I'll skip forward again to what the finished result looks like. you know, it's not the most organized. It's not necessarily the easiest way to do it, but it works for me. I'm sure everyone does it differently, and you do it different to what I do. But let's get building now that we've got that sorted. And you're probably getting sick of hearing my voice, but there's the instructions there for Rick Fields. I might flick on some background music while we build this addition to the up house. So you can see we're starting to get to the business end of the build there, and if you looked closely, you would have seen that one of my pink bricks actually had a face on it. Turns out after I put my order into Bricklink, there was a mistake on the quantity that they had available, so they couldn't get me all the pink bricks, and the only two that I had in my collection had those faces on it. But that's all part of the game, right? And they're inside, no one's ever going to see it. But here is the finished product, all clipped together. And really, I think it looks amazing. Like, it looks like a proper house. But one thing that I don't like about the build that we're going to see right now as I try to separate it, and this isn't a reflection on the Brickable build, but I think it's a reflection on the original way the up house was built, is that it is super fragile. Even when I've been trying to put it in the city, trying to get bricks to clip to the floors and things, it's just really hard to do it without breaking things. And you can see, even as I'm trying to fix it further, more bits fall off. And it's just the nature of the architecture of the building. It's unfortunate, and it is probably the biggest con of the set, but ultimately, aesthetically, it looks amazing. And once it sits in my city, it's probably not going to be that big a deal. I'm not going to be pulling it apart and back together constantly, so it's not a huge deal, but that is the one thing that kind of is a drawback to this set, in my opinion. But here we go, I finally got it back together, and you can see the two pieces side by side there. They match perfectly, right? It is a really good rebrickable set and does exactly what I wanted it to do. You can see inside the I guess the other thing that I love about it, which might not be for everyone, is that there was no added bricks on the inside that you're never going to see. Like, it was actually just building the shell. And that's, I think, is exactly what we wanted for this. So if you want to add interior, you perfectly can. But you don't have to sit there and remove those bricks from order if you don't want it. So I really love how they've done that. And it looks awesome as one building together. I haven't done it yet in the videos, but what I've done since recording this is I've actually just put a couple more plates on the roof just to hold the two together, just to give it a bit more stability. And it seems to have made a really big difference in that. But yeah, definitely loving the set, and I've got it into the city now, as we're about to see. Got it up on the translucent, or the clear white bricks, just to make it look like it's floating a little bit. You can still see them. And obviously you're always going to be able to see the bricks because they're not invisible. But I'm not sure if I can see too much of it. I'd love your opinion of how I can make it look more like it is genuinely flying or floating across the city. But the one thing that I do just kind of want to mention in that is that this was incredibly difficult. I just could not get bricks to stick. You see it's in a different position to where I had the original up house. I had it in between the middle peninsula bit of the city. I don't know what to call it. I've now moved it on top of Sesame Street just so I could click bricks into it a little bit easier. So it was a real mission, and I've really struggled to kind of make it work. So if you've got any idea, and I say this every video, right, is I have no idea what I'm doing, and I think this right here shows how little I know what I'm doing and how long it actually took me to get to this point. It's super easy to build the set, even easier to build the rebrickable set. Me trying to put it in the city on clear bricks, incredibly difficult. So if you have got help or advice for that, please definitely let me know. We're going to call this one here. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you making it through to the end if you got this far. Any hints or tips, don't forget to drop them in the comments, and hopefully we'll have a new video for you next week. So don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the stuff that YouTube tells you to do. Thanks for watching.